Jack Skellington, the spindly king of Halloween Town, kidnaps Santa Claus and plans to deliver ghoulish gifts to children on Christmas morning.
Hi, my name is Andre.
I'm Michelle.
I'm Emily.
And I'm Luis.
And we're the Walt Vault Podcast, our podcast about Disney movies. Welcome to the Walt Vault Podcast, Episode 5. Today, we're talking about The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Making Christmas.
Making Christmas. I'm so excited
Making Christmas.
to talk about this.
I didn't think we'd get here, guys. Not in a bad way, but like episode 5, is this not like a milestone for podcastery?
Yeah, we did it.
It is.
Making Christmas.
Remember when I said we did it, like, for the past 4 episodes? We did it. We made it. Episode 5.
Si se puede.
It's been a month. What do they say? Like 30 days makes a habit? I don't know.
It was like 7 days, but
Oh.
21.
Sure.
21 days makes a habit? Well, we're past that.
Yeah.
So we're good.
We've gone above and
Boom.
beyond. This is our
We have it in.
our 5th episode,
Yeah.
our first Christmas-themed episode, our second Halloween-themed episode.
Oh, yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Like
It's a
I
half and
said,
halfer.
this is an all-season movie because I love this movie.
That's true.
So it's for all seasons, but mainly you can watch it for like 3 months.
You can
Don't watch it
amazing.
for... Oh, I take it back. What I was just going to say was going to... I was going to say don't watch it for Easter because I was just trying to pick like a random one. But there's
Oh,
Easter
there
references,
is.
so haha,
There
you can
is a
watch
bunny
it for
in
Easter
there.
too.
It's like I said, I could watch this movie in the middle of summer if I wanted to.
That's
but
true.
It's
This
really
movie's got
like
a
a
lot going for it.
3-month-long movie, but
I
I'm going
dig
to watch
it.
it anyway.
A 3-month-long movie.
Yeah, it's a 3-month
God, I
movie.
hope not.
So before we get into this, I have something to say. Andre, will you vouch for me that I have very weird dreams?
I will vouch for this, yes.
Okay.
The weird dreams
Andre
come
lives
out of
with me,
Michelle.
so he has to deal with me waking up and just being like, that was a weird dream, and then I just tell him about it. So I don't know what I was thinking about
Do you
last
do
night.
this like in the middle of the night?
No,
when I
thank
wake up in the
goodness.
morning.
Okay.
Please don't wake me
Oh,
up
no.
to tell
Please
me
wake
your
up.
dreams.
Sometimes he tries to wake me up, but I can't because I'm like mid-dream and I'm like changing it in my mind. I'm like, leave me alone.
I just think she's lazy and doesn't want to get up.
Well, a little bit of both. But anyway, so I had a dream that I was riding Splash Mountain, which I never really go on unless Luis makes us. Because for some reason, you really like that ride.
Splash Mountain is the business.
It's a fun ride, but one that I can only ride at a very specific time of the day
Andre,
and temperature.
I don't even think we've ridden that ride together because every time I go, you refuse to go on it.
It's cold.
The reason was the
We've met-
business is because every single time I force either my wife or Michelle to get on, and pretty soon one day you, Andre,
Mhm.
Yeah, you won't ride
everybody
it.
with me gets soaked except for me.
It's true, which is really annoying, but it's true.
It's called BS.
I know.
He's got like an impervious charm on him.
I
No,
don't know.
no water can touch his skin.
Very nice.
Perfect.
Guys, I've been rereading Harry Potter. We won't
We're
discuss.
watching-
we
we're
won't
actually-
discuss it here. But
we're actually
Can we get back to my
binge
dream?
watching
No, I'm
Harry
just kidding.
Potter right now.
Oh, really?
It's
Oh,
our
nice.
Thanksgiving tradition. So
We have a
Sounds
snitch
fun,
ornament
Bobby.
on our tree. Does that count? It's cute.
yeah, heck yeah.
Anyway,
So the
back
point
to this
is,
dream.
I
Splash
had a
Mountain.
dream that I was on Splash Mountain, and we were going through the first part, and then there were some of the little characters there, which I can't really think of their names because I've never seen Song of the South. That's what it's based off of.
something
Yeah.
Something
creepy.
like that. I don't know. So
Actually, one
then
of our
all of a sudden
listeners.
I was like, wait, that's not the bear. I like turned a corner, and it was Mickey Mouse, and he was dressed like Sorcerer Mickey, and he was singing the Phantasmic song, and I was like, what? And then I kept turning corners, and there was like other Phantasmic things going on, like the boat was in there, but they were like miniatures, right? Like they were like animatronics. So then there was like the animatronic steamboat, and the little characters on it were like flying their little ribbons, and they were like, yay! And I don't know what was happening.
Why don't I ever get Mickey Mouse dreams?
And so
get,
then I
like,
started
murderer
getting really-
dreams.
I never have dreams about Disneyland.
Well, it made me-
I have dreams about getting shot at the bank.
Anyways, it made me feel uncomfortable because I was like, this isn't the ride. Because I know Disney and I have every ride memorized, right? So I was like, this is weird. And then we turned another corner, and it was where there's that little hill where it's just Brer Fox's butt. And you like go down, but I was like, but why is Brer Fox still in this if it's Phantasmic now? I don't know. So then, the next scene's like spooky. It gets kind of dark, and all the possums are like,
Yeah.
whatever. No, it was just freaking Mickey singing Phantasmic, and I went over the hill, and then I saw Phantasmic on the water. And
What's
then-
wrong with that, man?
and
I'm
then I
always
woke
getting
up.
like murdered in my dreams.
Yeah,
like
that's-
straight
Well, you know,
murdered.
it made
That
me
was a
feel
weird
very
dream. That was the
uncomfortable.
nicest thing I've ever heard. You got to go on a ride, and there was all kinds of. There was
It-
other rides in
okay,
that ride.
maybe
There was
this is
shows in
how-
that ride. That sounds
I
great.
know.
Not
That sounds like the best ride
listening.
ever.
Maybe it, it was uncomfortable, okay, because that's not how the ride goes.
Oh my god.
That makes her uncomfortable. That's cute.
Man.
Anyways,
It's okay. It's
the
not.
point of the story is Luis likes Splash Mountain.
Oh,
I
well, that
guess.
was a great point.
Oh, okay. Good on you.
I did not know that was the point of the story. I
Right.
thought the
It
point of the story
wasn't.
was you were having a dream and
Yeah.
you have weird dreams.
And it was all Disney related,
Yeah.
which is why you mentioned it on the podcast.
Yeah.
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 Anyways, that happened.
Thanks
well,
for-
well I
thanks for
like it
saving
when
that
things
one.
are about me, so I'll take that.
All right.
Good point.
Moving on to Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about this movie. The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Tim Burton's The Nightmare
excuse me.
Before Christmas.
Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas, which came out in 1993.
That's the year I was born.
Oh my God.
Good for you. I was 2 years old.
I was 2 years old.
Been out here living.
I was a couple months.
I was 37.
Oh man,
That's right, because he's an old man.
he's so old. It's crazy. So okay, this I have some facts about this movie that you may also have. So this movie was not originally released as a Disney movie. It was released under Touchstone Pictures,
Oh,
which
yeah.
Disney owns. It's through like Buena Vista or some
Buena
kind of
Vista Picture Company.
yeah, some kind of nonsense like that. So apparently, Tim Burton, who was an animator for Disney in the 80s, he wrote this poem and then started trying to get this movie made. And Disney was like,
No.
we don't necessarily like this idea. It's got a lot of death and stuff in it. So let's maybe not do that. He was
And
actually
then-
fired as an animator.
Yeah, then he got fired 2 years later.
He got fired as an animator.
And unfortunately, Disney still owned the rights
Disney-
to his poem and his movie idea.
Disney owned the rights to this
Yeah,
this
bummer.
thing.
That's a little shiesty. I'm
It's
just-
okay.
Right,
he went
yeah.
on to make what's that movie we just watched?
Beetlejuice.
He went on to make Beetlejuice instead.
That's right. He made Beetlejuice.
Still
and he
pretty
made,
shiesty.
And he made Batman. And
Mhm.
then he began production on this movie after he reconnected with Disney.
They did like a film deal, and they said we're going to put your name on it, so it's Tim Burton's name and not Disney's name.
So that
because
if
it's
it
kind of
flops,
creepy.
then
and
it's
it doesn't-
not on us. It's Tim
Yeah,
Burton's.
yeah,
That
it's
makes
not on us.
sense.
It's on
Okay.
Tim Burton, and they put it under the Touchstone instead of
Yeah,
like
I
the
saw that.
Disney entrance thing because. You know, if it flopped and Disney fans didn't like it, they could be like, "Oh, it's Tim Burton's movie."
Yeah.
Well, you can see how well that worked out for Disney.
Right.
Yeah, right?
It worked out very well. They
Mhm.
they have stuff to sell on Halloween and
Yeah,
Christmas
I freaking
for
guess
every
so.
year until
It's like
forever.
cult Disney following now, really.
Yes.
So now they have, they literally get to decorate their parks with Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, so also, despite it being called Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas, it is not actually directed by Tim Burton.
Which I actually love that because I was looking up facts earlier and I talked to Luis about that and he's like, "What?" I said, "I know because you expect it to be him directing because when you look at it, it is distinctly
Tim Burton movie.
Tim Burton.
It's very much his style.
So what happened is he wrote 2/3 of the movie based on his poem, and then he was going to be directing Batman Returns. Correct?
Yep,
Batman
Batman
Returns.
Returns.
So he
That's
was
the
like,
one with
I don't want
Catwoman.
to deal with the stop motion, but I want it to be a stop motion production. So then he found Mr. Selleck and was like, hey, do this for me. Who was his partner on... what's the movie we just watched? Why can't I remember it?
Was it Beetlejuice? Yeah.
He was his co-director on Beetlejuice. So he was like, hey, dude, do
Henry
this movie for
Selick.
me.
Henry Selick.
Henry
yes.
Selick is his name.
And then they just did it. Must be nice, Tim Burton, to
Yeah.
have your own name on a movie and you didn't even have to direct it. You
Right.
wrote it, though.
No relation to Tom Selleck, by the way.
no relation.
No relation.
Look up a picture of Henry Selick on IMDb, and just imagine that he's related to Tom Selleck and how that Thanksgiving is going to go because it's a pretty funny image.
I just thought it was crazy because I always have... I think I probably watched this movie in the early 2000s, like 2006 to 2008 range was probably the first time I saw it. And I had just always associated it with Disney because the Haunted Mansion Holiday Ride had been in the Disney parks since about the year 2000. So I never knew it was like under Touchstone and it was Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas until
Right.
I really had been watching it as an adult.
Well, you know, it's funny that you're talking about that too because when I look at it, when I think of Tim Burton's repertoire,
Mhm.
I think of this
Yeah.
every time.
It's classic Tim
Straight
Burton.
Well,
up.
and it's funny too that you're talking about the poem, because when I was reading some facts, it was saying that his poem is based on the Christmas poem, The Night Before Christmas.
Mhm.
Which, if you think about that, it's literally
was
a couple letters
The
off.
Nightmare
But I
Before
never,
Christmas.
I never
and
even,
all through the house.
You never
The
thought about
creature
that?
was
I never
stirring.
thought about
Oh,
that.
I
Not
always
even
knew
a
the
bat.
title was a play on that.
Oh, see, I never once thought about that until today, and then I realized, like, oh, I can see the similarities
The
now.
Nightmare Before
Mhm.
Christmas.
Well, and
Yeah,
did
it's
you guys
great.
know? And this is another thing I read, was that the whole concept of this movie came up because when Senor Burton, I couldn't think of his name, when Senor Burton,
Timmy.
when Timmy was growing up, he lived in Burbank, right here in California,
Mhm.
and he would go to big department stores with his parents. And as we know, Christmas is continually seeping over into earlier and earlier in the year.
Right.
And so now we're seeing
Oh,
Christmas
yeah.
during Halloween. We're seeing it during, Thanksgiving, then Halloween. And so he was thinking in his head, kind of as a kid, of the amalgamation of what that looks like
Mhm.
and how it would look if instead of Christmas taking over Halloween, Halloween took over Christmas. So I guess that's like where the
Interesting.
Very
beginnings
cool.
of everything started, and then he took that Night Before Christmas and turned it into The Nightmare Before Christmas.
What a smart man.
I was
Very
like,
interesting.
ooh, that's like some good backstory.
And I absolutely love Tim Burton in general, like Edward Scissorhands, everything like that. Like
Ooh.
Batman.
love it.
Batman Returns.
Love, love, love. I hadn't seen Beetlejuice until this year, which was okay. It was interesting.
I love Beetlejuice.
But
yeah.
it's crazy to think of like this is his style of writing, but it works in a children's movie, which is crazy because
Yeah.
you never think you could really combine the two, but you can, apparently.
And very successfully, I think.
Very successful.
In addition to like its production and stuff like that, so it being based on all that Christmas stuff he saw in department stores, I heard that the style of the movie is kind of not all of the style, obviously, but the style of the movie is kind of modeled after those like Christmas specials that show on TV every single year, like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Frosty the Snowman, and just
Oh, okay.
that kind
I
of
read that
style
as
of
well.
movie where
That makes sense.
we gotta save Christmas because Santa's sleigh is being piloted by non-red-nosed having reindeer.
Well, and I read that he in his mind, he fashioned this as being one of those to be played for Christmas.
Which it almost definitely is now.
Well, it does and it doesn't, because when I think about it, I really do think about it as a Halloween movie. Because I know that
do as well.
I know that we're laughing about it as being an all seasons movie, but I'm really not watching this movie on Christmas.
Which is funny because Christmas is in the title.
Yeah.
But
Right,
I
Halloween is not
agree.
in the
I
title.
do always think of it more as a Halloween movie
Mm-hmm.
because Halloween is what takes over Christmas,
Yeah.
like you said. It's not the other way around.
Well, and if I'm going to Disneyland on Halloween or during the Halloween season, I'm riding this ride.
Right.
If I'm in Disneyland during Christmas time, I'm riding this ride. But I'm not like riding this ride.
Oh,
Right.
no, I'm riding this ride because I'm going to go out and stay at that version of Haunted Mansion I enjoy more.
Well,
I
that
said
is
it.
that's
Sorry,
that's
guys.
true too. But I guess for like the fervor of the holiday, it doesn't like catch me
Yeah.
for Christmas. I'm trying to jingle cruise it up.
It gets me.
You know what I mean?
No, man. It gets me every time because there's those little flowers in there and they're like, la, 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 la,
That
la,
would be
la.
Michelle.
And then
It
I
is
walk
her
around the
favorite
park singing it the whole time. I'm like, la, la, la,
we
la,
just
la,
we
la,
just
know.
went,
We know. We were there with you.
and she did all of this.
la, 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 la. Hey,
Making Christmas.
that's not in the ride. It's Kidnap the Santa Claus. That
She
one.
told Luis that's not in
That's
the
not
ride.
in
I
the
enjoy the
ride.
ride.
Making Christmas. Anyways,
All right, but I guess we're not talking about the ride. We're talking about the movie.
Fine.
That's true. The
Fine.
Talking
movie.
about the movie.
So let's give our first impressions here. I think I don't remember the first time I saw this movie. It came out in 1993. I was 2 years old. I probably saw it before I was 5. And,
Oh, see, I did not.
and
Me either.
I'm
As a teenager, probably.
well,
preteen.
because I think honestly, because like there's some more information about me. I loved Batman since I was born.
He does
so
love
Since I was
Batman.
born.
that Batman 1989 movie that Tim Burton directed. That's another movie that I saw before I was 5 for sure.
Or let me be the silly one on the podcast that doesn't know. Is that the version with
It has Michael Keaton.
Okay,
and
yes.
Jack Nicholson.
Yes,
as the
yes,
Joker.
yes. Okay.
Yes.
I just
Don't
wanted to
worry,
make sure.
I've never seen it either.
Oh no, girl, I seen it. I just didn't
Oh.
know if that was. I never
I've
connected
not
that to being
seen it.
Tim Burton.
Yes, it's definitely a Tim Burton movie, and if you watch it, you can see all of his
Maybe I need to rewatch
all of
it
his
then.
goodies.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
His goodies.
his goodies in there. So I think just because I liked that movie, and then a movie called Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas came out, my parents were like, "Oh yeah, you can watch this because it's a kids movie or whatever." I don't know. I didn't get their justification about it, but I definitely saw it.
I think the
When I was
reason
very
I've only
young.
ever seen it as like a preteen or really thoroughly watched it and paid attention to it as an adult was because my mom's afraid of everything, and this movie was probably definitely, she would think this movie is too scary. There was no way she was going to let me watch it as a kid.
Oh, it's
For
my
sure.
mom the same way. I
She
know
doesn't
that my mom
like it.
hadn't seen it until like Luis and I were married,
Oh.
and I was like, "Hey, mom, this movie's good," and she's like,
But it
and I'm like,
is-
"No, mom, we need to watch it."
It is creepy. Like, let's be real.
Oh yeah.
On the creepy topic, a funny thing you guys mentioned your guys' mothers. If my mom were to watch this, for those of you who don't know, let me backtrack a bit. Sorry. I am Mexican, and I come from a very traditional Mexican family.
Right.
And if my mother were to have seen me watching this, she would have probably threw like the chancla across the room, hit me in the head.
Oh,
She
man.
would have rushed me over to the bathtub. She would have called the priest, had him baptize me
like a
all
quick
over again.
exorcism real quick.
And then she would have burned the TV and threw in a couple Hail Marys at the same time.
He's got oogie boogies in him.
Yes, but I mean,
You know what?
And if you really look at
crazy.
it though, like I wouldn't
I don't blame her.
necessarily blame my mother because
They're
for
kidnapping
somebody
Santa
who's
Claus.
who's never seen it and just first glance, it's creepy.
Yes.
It's very creepy.
It's creepy, and it kind of like gets in the face of everything that is Christmas.
For sure. I
Well,
remember.
and I think that kids, but I think on the other hand is that kids don't really get as afraid of it as we do as adults, like because we
Exactly.
think back on it and we're like,
yeah.
Right.
"Ooh, like that's actually kind of like that's
Or
the
when
stuff
you
of nightmares
actually
right
listen to the song lyrics for "Kidnap the Sandy Claus" and you're like, "Whoa,
Right. Yeah. It's
let's,
like
let's tie him
there.
up
There I am
yeah.
for
90 years, see if he's dead."
Yeah,
90
that,
years.
It's nice.
ooh.
Actually, I do remember the first time I watched the movie. So growing up, I think we had this conversation on the last episode that I listened to EDM music. Yes, because I talked about Skrillex.
Mhm.
Well, growing up, I was a scene kid. I listened to like alternative.
Scene?
I was a scene kid. I listened to alternative rock and went to Warped Tour and listened to screamo and things like
Did
that.
you have like big hair that you had to tease?
No, I had very straight hair with bangs. That was red.
Oh, okay. There you
I
go.
went through a Paramore phase.
Gotcha.
Anyways,
Oh, okay.
That kind
I
of
know.
scene kid.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So
Oh, I remember.
the first
okay,
time I
remember
watched
that
The
now.
Nightmare Before Christmas is because I was obsessed with Fall Out Boy in high school, and they did like a Punk Goes Christmas album or something like
Mhm.
that, and they redid the What's This song, and then I was like, what's this? I need to watch this movie. That's the first time I watched it.
What's this?
So I was in high school.
Ooh,
Yes.
what's this?
I had people like that in high school. I think. Shout out to our friend Christian Magdaleno. She has she wore Jack Skellington stuff on her person like all the time in high school. Do you remember
Yes.
that? Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
A bunch
People
of it.
still wear a bunch of
Oh yeah.
Nightmare Before Christmas gear.
Well, it's funny too because I always think about like I guess because I didn't grow up with it, to me I didn't ever really get it or I didn't notice it as much, but I feel
Mhm.
like now when I go into the parks, it's everywhere.
And I
Everywhere.
kind of
Like-
want a shirt. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
I
It's
need some
very
Jack
popular.
in my life.
yeah.
Or some salad. Salad's pretty cool. the first ever pop culture reference of the movie I ever think of is in the song. Come on. Help me.
Which song? This is Halloween. Sally's song?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Who
Sally's
sings that?
song?
Who sings that?
I assume it's
No. The oh God.
Da-da, da-da,
No, it's not in the movie.
Oh, it's not in the movie?
No.
it's a pop culture reference in the movie.
We can live like Jack and Sally
If you want,
Oh,
and you can
okay, I
always
don't-
find me.
I don't know what
We'll
this song
have
is.
Halloween
Blink 182.
on
Thank you,
Christmas.
Louise. My God.
Yeah, that's
a
that,
good song.
That's what made me think of it in the
Don't
first place.
waste your time on me. Yeah, I got it.
Oh, okay.
I think Michelle wants to sing the whole song.
Well, I was a scene kid. I listened to Blink 182 too. y'all.
So that's like the first thing that got me thinking about it. And then when I watched the movie, I was like, oh, that's where it came from. Like, oh my God. It took me like
Very
10 years to figure it out.
True.
That was me.
Oh.
Anyhow.
While we're on the topic of music, should we talk about the music?
Sure. The music was done by
That was nice.
very often collaborated with Tim Burton, Mr. Danny Elfman.
Who's also the singing voice of Jack Skellington.
That's right.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
Well, speaking of the music, Luis and I a couple weeks ago, actually right before Halloween, we went to see The Nightmare Before Christmas done by the Gallo Center for the Arts here in Modesto.
Sick invite.
Yeah, sorry guys.
We didn't get
Sorry,
invited at all.
it was our first date night after having a baby, so yeah.
Applause.
Sorry.
I guess we can give you a pass for that.
Sorry.
Fine.
No, but we went, and it was really cool because they showed the movie on the screen, but the music was all done by the full orchestra.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the one thing that I noticed the most, which I never noticed watching the movie, was that literally the entire movie is orchestrated. Like
Yes.
from moment one to the end.
And it's amazing.
There will be there's like
no-
literally one stop just to start again. Like you can almost pick up like the downbeat in between the two songs.
Mhm.
It never stops. And I was like, wow, because that really shows you how the movie can be carried by music.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that we've been talking about how in some of these other movies there weren't music like Wreck-It Ralph,
Mhm.
but how without music in this movie, it would not.
No, it wouldn't work.
It couldn't stand by itself.
Right, for
I
sure.
think
I don't think it.
One of the underrated songs that I enjoy listening to, mainly because there's a few lines in it that Andre really enjoys. So whenever we watch it, he sings it a lot.
I
For
can't pull
Jack's
these off.
Lament.
Oh, yeah. I love Jack's
There's like
Lament.
something about Shakespearean quotations, and Andre like
Shakespearean quotation.
the lyrics for all of these songs are fantastic. I'm a very lyrical person. Like if the song has good lyrics, I'm gonna love it. And the way that Jack sings, all operatic and super dramatic, and it gets me every time.
Yeah.
Love it.
I read that Danny Elfman and Tim Burton wrote the songs, and I can't remember if it was Tim Burton or Danny Elfman, but one of them said that writing for Jack was like one of the easiest jobs that they've ever had to do in music, just because they relate to him so much, which is interesting. I don't know if
I think
that's...
that my least favorite song would have to be Sally's song, though.
You have a problem with that.
I do have a problem with
What is
Sally.
wrong with you?
Talk about that, because I still don't really understand it.
You
either.
have a problem
Okay, so I
with the
think-
best character in the movie?
Oh,
shots fired.
I don't agree with that at all.
Ooh, I'll let Luis tell you because he definitely
Oh, no.
that's definitely his favorite
Okay,
character.
so Sally bugs me, and I'm going to say that it starts with I don't enjoy stop motion claymation very much in movies.
Okay.
Something about it looks creepy, which is the point. It's supposed to look creepy and kind of weird. And when I first watched movies like that, I was like, I can't get into it. But now I'm okay with it. But something about Sally is weird. I don't know if it's the way she moves or something like that. I don't like how her voice is so hairy, and when she sings, she's like, "Oh, Jack, blah blah blah, I love you." I just something about Sally really bugs me, and I don't know what it is. And I think we had read a fun fact that for the claymation, Jack Skellington had over 400 heads and 400 expressions. Sally had 10. So I think
Right.
maybe that's why I couldn't connect to her. Maybe she seemed almost like robotic and emotionless to me in a weird way.
Well,
she
she
was
is
a-
a robot.
yeah, she was
I
a
know.
created.
But
Char-
Sally's my
She's
least
like
favorite
Frankenstein.
character. And I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for that. Sorry.
I mean, based on what I gathered from that movie, I mean, fans, please correct me if I'm wrong, but she was not even like 2 months old at that time.
Right. She had
So,
just been
of course,
created.
I
she's
don't
not gonna
know.
have too many expressions. She hasn't really,
I don't know. Something about her bugs.
But you know
I think
what?
it's the voice. I want to say it's the voice.
Is it because she's kind of melancholy in a sense?
Yeah, I think
Kind
it's...
of emo, not emo per se,
No.
just very like.
It's the very wispy voice. and
So she's very
melancholy.
melancholy. So
Yeah,
I'll agree that she is melancholy.
Maybe
I'll
it's
give
the
you that.
voice. You know how I'll compare this to how I said I would like Tamatoa if it was a different voice. I think if it was a different voice for Sally, I would have liked it.
Ooh, called out. Sally was voiced by Miss Catherine O'Hara.
Sorry, Catherine O'Hara. I love you in Stranger Things. You're amazing.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so
Catherine O'Hara is not in Stranger Things. You're thinking of the
Yes,
other
she
lady.
is in Stranger Things. She's
No,
the mom.
no, she's not the mom.
You told me she's the mom.
I did not tell you she's the mom. I said Catherine O'Hara is in Beetlejuice. You're mixing up Catherine O'Hara with... I can't remember her name now.
Awkward silence.
Editor's note, it's Winona Ryder.
Anyway.
Making
Well-
Christmas. So, okay, so Louis, did you say that Sally is your favorite character in this movie?
Oh, no.
Yeah, she is absolutely my favorite character in the movie.
Ooh.
She is the only one that uses her sense of reason.
That's true.
So, apart from that, I guess the main reason why I like Sally even more is because she really is like the only one who's not crazy in that entire Halloween town. I mean, don't get me wrong, Jack isn't crazy either, but you know, Jack's
Well,
He kind of is.
Jack's a little
he went a
crazy.
little crazy over Christmas, but I mean, everyone else in there's like 2-year-olds.
Yeah.
The mayor, you can't rely on the mayor to make a decision. He's an
Oh.
elected
Just an
official
elected official, Jack.
for that reason to make decisions.
Well, what about you guys? Who's your favorite character in the movie?
I mean, this is... My favorite character is Jack Skellington because he's so dramatic. He's like, woe is me, I'm the Pumpkin King, but I need more because I'm amazing. And it's so funny, and the way he sings, his lanky body, like the way he moves, everything is so visually, and it's like, it's funny to me that I love him. And I love how he doesn't even really care about Sally until the very end. He's like, oh, Sally, come be by my side. I'm like, this girl has been trying to be the voice of reason the whole time, Jack. You just now notice her. It cracks me up. And so for that reason, I like Jack. It's so funny.
Oh, Lord.
It's so funny. Jack Skellington's hilarious.
He is funny.
I have a strange answer for who my favorite character is. Okay, first of all,
Strange.
First of all, it's a tie, and so it's either the mayor. I really
So
I really
funny.
enjoy the two-faced mayor. That's a
Dude,
great.
That's so funny.
It's a great concept for a dude who's half smiling, half like
head just
pooping his
turns around.
pants
He's like,
at all times.
I always try to figure out what that other emotion is. Is it worry? Is it like
It's like-
scared?
it's like
It's
like
all of it.
WTF, really. like,
oh
that's
no!
Oh no!
Help, please. So it's a tie between the mayor and then also the saxophone player in the little band who goes, "Nice work, Bone Daddy." That's my favorite line in the movie. I love that. It's great.
Well,
totally
it's funny
you.
that you say that because I literally wrote down in my notes, I love how the band lets the mayor freak out trying to call and talk to Jack when they know he's not home. Like,
He's
in
not been home since last night.
It's
like-
entertaining for them.
like, real helpful. You could have told him before he rolled down the
Before
staircase.
He
I
turned his
also-
face even.
And I love how Jack plays Jingle Bells on the thing, and he's like, "Can you guys play this?" And they immediately go to a minor key.
Turn, 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 turn. It's great.
And he's
Oh,
like,
it's-
"Wonderful,
Practice on that. That sounds great.
great, fantastic."
Oh my god.
Who's your favorite, Emily?
Definitely, and this is funny because I was thinking about it the whole movie. I like Santa, which
Okay.
What?
okay, not I
Okay.
don't usually like Santa in movies. Santa's
Sure.
usually real stupid,
Santa.
but I like Santa because he's sassy. Like at the end when he's like, "Next time you think about taking over somebody else's holiday," like he gets all pissed. I think that's
Interesting.
quite funny. Also because I feel like he gets picked on.
Well,
like,
yeah, he gets kidnapped.
well, I mean, I guess, right? But like, at one point, like worms go into his beard, and he's like not phased by it. And the other
Mhm.
time, he gets like candy stuck in his beard. He looks like Vanellope, right?
Yeah,
With like
he
little
does.
candy in his hair. I just think it's funny how he reacts to like this whole Halloween thing.
To
Like he should
everything.
be much more flustered, and he's just like pissy instead of
Right.
like actually like freaking out
Yeah.
mad. I
Yeah.
think that's quite funny how he handles
I would
the
have
whole
never
situation.
thought of that. He is a good character.
Sandy Claus.
Oh, I know, Sandy. I dig it.
He's
And
like,
they actually
you
call
don't
him
even have
Sandy.
any claws. See, once again, this is why Jack is my favorite, because only he would
Yes.
think it's Sandy Claus.
Oh, it's
Come
beautiful.
on.
It's
It's
beautiful.
awesome.
Funny.
Okay, so on the opposite side, who do you think's like the scariest character in the whole movie?
Well, for sure, the half-faced clown who can freaking take his
The tearaway
face off.
face.
Oh, the tearaway face clown.
tearaway
First of
face.
all, if you guys don't know me, I'm terrified of clowns, and Andre made me see it, and I'm okay kind of with them now. But the clown
She
with the
overcame her
tearaway
fear.
face, get out of here! It's creepy.
Isn't he like riding a tricycle?
Yes, not okay. Not okay at all.
To me, it's Oogie Boogie.
Oh.
Oogie Boogie's
Mr.
just
Oogie Boogie.
'Cause I'm
creepy
the
as hell.
boogeyman.
He's the boogeyman.
Luis literally does not watch that part. Like he turns
It's like all
away.
voodoo and stuff.
No, it's not even the voodoo. He literally, I think it's because when he gets unraveled, all the bugs on the
He's
inside.
just
The bugs
bugs.
are creepy.
That's real creepy. But literally, he like looks away. He's like, "Oh, look, there's a baby." I'm like, "No, don't even like blame
I
that on the
love
baby." y'all."
Oogie Boogie. Oogie Boogie's hilarious.
Oogie Boogie's cool. But,
What about you, Andre?
but yeah, those bugs are scary. The scariest...
Or creepiest.
Yeah, the creepiest character in this movie is he's like a bat, and he like walks on his wings, and he has a little body and a big head. He's
Yeah,
awful.
that's
Ah,
pretty much
like the bat T-Rex.
yes,
I know what you're talking about.
That is really
that dude's
scary.
super creepy. I don't think he has any lines, but terrifying.
I think he sings like one thing, like Megan Prison. I don't know.
Oh no! But going back to Oogie Boogie, I kind of need to give you guys an explanation. When he unraveled and all those bugs come out of there, it's just one of those things where it's like I'm not scared of bugs. I'll kill a bug if I have to.
Sure,
But
you're a man.
the entire like the moment when everything just starts to unravel with him
And the bugs just falling
gives
out,
me the
My bugs!
dang
My bugs!
EBGBs.
and they're hitting the floor. Gives you the Oogie Boogies.
EBGBs.
It's funny. I think it's funny.
And he's a damn burlap sack. What's not
Yeah.
creepier
A
than
green
a
burlap
sack?
sack.
He's a burlap sack.
Wait, so
Is he green or is he like burlap?
he's
The light
burlap,
makes him
but the light
green.
makes him green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you watch The Lion King, do you have to turn away when Timon and Pumbaa eat all the bugs?
No.
It's a different kind of bugs, right?
Those are nice
Those bugs are actually juicy, and had they
Slimy,
been roasted,
yet
I would have
satisfying.
been up in there with Timon and Pumbaa. But
Yeah. Okay.
Roasted.
What about you, Emily?
That's disgusting.
Freakiest character.
For me, it's definitely Dr. Finkelstein. I
Oh.
just cannot.
Oh my god, I forgot about
Oh
him.
my god. I think
Ugh.
it's not even like when you just look at him, it's not just like it's not the way he's drawn, it's his mouth.
Yes.
Like the way his little nasty
He has a huge mouth, and he's got about 4.5 teeth in that mouth, and it's not enough at all.
You poisoned me for the last time.
And it's like a snout, so it's just like
Yes.
always open.
and you're just like,
moving.
Sally, you're using deadly nightshade. Could you please kill him? Like,
No.
stop knocking him out. Kill
It's
him.
even creepier when he
Oh,
makes his
jeez.
wife and she has the same face as him and took half his
Ooh.
brain. What the-
Yeah.
Him
Nasty.
Nah.
playing with his brain is real creepy too.
Nasty.
Well, and
When
I-
he scratches it,
oh my god, he
Get your
scratches
hands out of
his
your
brain.
brain.
Woo. But I think it's because he reminds me of Jigsaw, like like Jigsaw
Oh,
from
yeah.
Saw,
Oh,
who like
yeah.
comes in on the little tricycle. He's coming in on his little wheelchair.
Yeah.
Oh, it freaks me out.
Yeah.
And
It
Luis
is
is
freaky.
watching the movie like he is not even half as scary as Oogie Boogie. I'm like, no,
No,
pretty
he's a
sure
little
those
bit
Mad
lips
scientist.
are freaking me out.
I have an honorable mention. The little fat kid
Yes.
with the mom.
oh yes,
The little fat kid might be the clown. I just remembered
Is
him.
he like a
I-
mummy or what is he? Because his face is
he
kind of.
looks like the kid from the Addams Family. I don't know if that's maybe a
He kind of does.
a reference
He's
or something
really
like that.
freaky.
But also, I'm pretty sure he's
No, but-
blind, like his eyes
Yes.
are like fused shut
Yes.
or something like that.
Oh.
He's a creepy little kid too. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Straight
almost
up.
looks like he has like boiled sewn eyeballs.
Yeah.
But the good thing about this movie is like all of these side characters that really just sing or are just in the town are great. The vampires, when they start singing that song and the Something's Up with Jack, and they're like moving their arms, something's up with Jack, something's up with Jack, and then they
Their
turn
umbrellas
away
because
like
it's
this.
sunny outside.
And I was noticing this too, like their rhythms. It's very musical to me. They're stepping on the beats,
Oh,
like when
100%.
Jack is on his little hill, he's stepping like perfectly on the beats, and something so satisfying about that to me.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Oh, do you guys
No,
ever
I
just
agree.
like walk when you have headphones in and you're trying to step to the beat of whatever song you're listening
Yeah.
to?
Which is
And
my
you have
whole
to-
life.
And you have to
okay?
walk like
Jack
pretty
does it
fast sometimes
beautifully.
to get it right.
How many beats per minute you walking? I'm walking 125. Thank you.
I love that.
Get my
She's
workout
zooming.
in.
The vampires are really funny. I love it.
Well, and I think that's another good thing about the background characters in this movie. I'll call them background characters. That sounds mean.
the
but
town.
The town people are actually, even though they're scary, quote unquote, they're actually really nice. Like if you
Yeah.
listen
Yeah.
to what they say, like when they're not singing, they're like, "Aw, we ruined Christmas," or like, "Oh, Jack."
moans a smithereen.
They're actually like nice people,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
They're just monsters.
We're just
They don't
They're just
know any
monsters
better.
living
Like,
their lives,
like
trying to
they're
put on a good Halloween.
Just-
they're
trying
like
to do
making
my
all the
job.
toys and they're so proud of themselves.
Oh, right.
Speaking of toys, are you guys ready for this? Are you
What?
ready for my
Yes.
Easter egg of the week?
Ooh.
Ooh. There's actually quite a few for that time period,
Okay.
but one of the best ones that Luis and I we read about, and then we found it in the movie. So they're making all the toys, right?
Mhm.
They make them in Halloween Town. Jack takes them down to Earth or what? I don't even know how. We've
Right,
been
how
talking
this
about this
whole
whole
universe
world.
works.
I have no idea. Whatever. They're in real
Multiverse.
life,
Mhm.
quote unquote, and you see the kids unraveling their Christmas presents. Well, one opens up, the one that looks like Mickey, right? And we think, well, I don't know if you've ever seen that toy.
Oh.
It's like has the little black face. It has the like Mickey's widow's peak.
Sure.
Yeah.
I've always thought it kind of looked like Mickey, but I never got like any
Yeah.
justification for that.
Mhm.
And then the other kid opens up the duck, right? That ugly,
Oh.
funky duck.
Yes.
Well, if you look at what the kids' pajamas who are opening those presents, the little girl is wearing Mickey Mouse pajamas, and she opens the funky looking Mickey, right? And the little boy opens up the duck, and he's wearing Donald Duck pajamas.
What?
That's super
swear.
cool.
I did not
Oh
notice
my
that
god,
at all.
it was so cute too because now that I saw it, it's so unmistakable.
Right.
But we just missed it every time because
yeah.
we care more about these
Interesting.
creepy
Just
toys.
Just watching a movie. That's
you
amazing.
Guys,
Yes.
I almost forgot about Zero. He's cute.
Yes,
He's Rudolph.
We haven't mentioned Zero, who was
he is a very cute
he's
character.
a ghost dog, which is cool.
He's a ghostess with the mostest.
the ghostest with the mostest. Is he the only ghost in the movie?
No.
Oh, there are the ghosts that
At the
sing at the very
beginning that
at
are
the very
singing.
Like
beginning.
literally, there's a ghost right at the beginning and never again until Zero.
Yeah, that's true.
No, there are no ghosts in that movie.
Right, except for the ones that sing in the beginning.
And
Who
they're
are
they're
like animated.
really animated ghosts.
Yeah.
They're not even like characters, really.
Yeah, so they mix definitely some claymation with some animation. Like all the fire that you see in the movie is animated, and then like Zero, he is claymation animated, but then I think they digitally removed him and
Well,
then
his nose is
animated him back
bright.
in because
'Cause his
that's
nose,
how you
yeah.
get the clear look through.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
That
because
makes
he's
sense.
translucent.
Yeah, that makes sense. I forgot that they did that.
Well, some of the facts with that part of it is I am not a detail-oriented person.
Mhm.
I mean, I could do some detail if I could do it really fast, but I'm a big person. That too.
Oh my God.
I'm a big picture thinker.
Mhm.
So I could never have worked on this movie because we were reading, and for every 1 minute of this movie, it took a week of filming.
Oh yeah.
Because it was
Wow.
24 frames per second. So that means they had to move characters 24 times for every second of film.
Right.
I would die.
Why do you think Tim Burton was like, you go make
It's like
this
you have
movie?
you have to set it
Yes.
up, take the picture, look at the picture, make sure it's good.
We
and then
good? We good? We good?
Set it up so that everybody's
That's
mouth moves, and it's
insane.
all miniatures. It's claymation is a crazy amount. Of
I would
work.
say absolutely not
Especially
to
since
that.
Jack had 400 faces. Like, whenever he makes a spooky face, like with his teeth, like,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm sure that took a lot of shots, but those are my favorite parts of him.
Oh, yeah.
Where,
No,
like,
they're
the little
fantastic.
pumpkin king comes through, and we're like, oh, there's the creepy Jack. Get it.
Yeah, no, I don't think I could have had the patience for that just because it's so detail oriented.
Oh,
Yeah.
for
But
sure.
I think that's what makes everyone love it so much is because in every single scene, especially in the ones where they pan out and you see the entire town,
Mhm.
you can watch little people in the scene and they are moving. It's not just like the main characters
Yeah.
are. They
Mhm.
really paid
It's
attention to every
so
detail there.
much
That's true.
movement going on when, especially when they have to take that many
Yeah.
pictures.
Very
shots.
true.
Which would make me cry again.
Okay.
My last question that I have that came to mind that Andre and I were talking about last night: Lock, Shock, and Barrel.
Ugh.
They're the three little kids, children.
So yeah,
What
I was,
are they?
I was
We
looking
were
at them,
talking about this.
and I think they're human children
Are they
that
human?
are dead. I think they're
Oh my
I think
God,
they're
I never
dead
thought
trick or
about
treaters.
that.
Their faces are white. Their eyes are like sunken in, and
Their
I would
lips are
rather.
blue.
They
I
have-
would absolutely rather look at their freaking mask face than look at
right,
their real face.
Yeah,
they, have,
when
they
they-
have bags
Disgusting.
under their eyes and they have blue lips, like they're cold.
And
Oh
I'm
my
going to
God,
say
I
the
never thought of
creepiest
that.
part of the movie to me is when they're singing the song about kidnapping Santa Claus. You take these like 3 weird trick-or-treating dead children talking about kidnapping Santa
I never
Claus,
thought about them being
putting him
dead.
in a box, tying him up. They just want to blow him up to smithereens. I don't know. It's creepy.
Yeah,
They are pretty creepy.
they do a lot to Santa, which
But that's my favorite
you know
song.
what they probably got on the naughty list, you know, so they weren't
Mhm.
too fond of Santa when they were alive. I
Yes.
assume.
They got on the naughty list, and as a result, they died.
Ooh.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's a little rough.
They got cold in their stockings and they
This
ate
is
it.
my only pshaw to that is that
Pshaw.
my pshaw to that is that, which is literally my favorite part of the movie. My entire favorite part is when I already gave you part of this, is when they go to find Santa Claus,
Mhm.
Sandy Claus,
Sandy
In the
Claus.
bathtub.
in the bathtub, and they bring back the freaking Easter Bunny. That
You
is
think
the
that's funny?
Yes.
You don't think that's funny?
Okay.
Oh my
That's
God.
hilarious.
I die every time they're like, take him back and apologize again. Oh my God. I literally die every single time. But it's funny to me because if they were human children, they would have known who the Easter Bunny was.
That's true.
I feel like Halloween Town people don't know
Oh.
who Easter Bunny is. But
Yeah.
like what
How
All
are
they
they?
know is Halloween.
Well, they know it's Halloween,
Mm.
right? Because they went to the forest and they were like, "What is this?
What's this?
What's this?" Oh, I like the town hall scene too.
Oh
That's
God,
funny.
that's too funny.
Oh yeah, they call a whole town hall. They turn on
Town
they turn on the
meeting.
spotlight and the bats fly off of it. That's a great part.
Well, and do you think that
Town
was like a nod to Batman?
Oh, it is now in my head forever for the
You're
rest
like,
of all time. Yes.
Batman's in the movie now.
meeting.
Well, it's funny because, again, like I said, I don't think that during that time period they did a whole bunch of Easter egg type nods.
Right.
But it was interesting how the director here, again, we all thought was Tim Burton, but it really was Henry Selick.
Yeah.
He went on to do James and the Giant Peach and Coraline.
Yeah.
And there are
Wow.
nods to this movie in both of those movies. So in James and the Giant Peach, Jack can actually be seen as a skeletal pirate in that movie.
Oh.
And in Coraline, he's actually a smiling skull in a cracked egg. So so it
Interesting.
seems like most of the movies that come back that are this type of animation, Henry Selick has actually brought Jack back in because he was his favorite animated
Right.
character.
That makes sense.
You're right. He's
And then
great.
like I can't remember because like in Beetlejuice there are those like sand snakes that live outside of the
Yes.
house or whatever that
Yes.
are definitely they're definitely this
oh yeah, it's
animation
the same kind of snakes.
that
The
are like
snake is-
striped
Mhm. It's
the
the
striped
same, yeah.
snakes. I can't remember where they show up in this movie, but they're definitely there. Like I have to imagine.
I think they show up where they're eating the tree.
yeah.
Yes, that's right. The
That
snake
snake.
like unfurls from the
Right,
from the
so that
tree.
was a nod to a previous Tim Burton movie.
Tim Burton
so.
movie that Henry
Mhm.
Selick worked on. So yeah, it might just be a lot of
Nice.
Henry Selick
I dig it
stuff
though.
going on.
I
now.
like
Yeah.
it. So, this goes back a lot farther than we thought it did, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. I like it.
What else do you like?
What else do I like?
You want to
That's a
know
good
one of my
question.
favorite quotes in the whole movie? It's right in the beginning, and it's right after they sing the opening song. And I'm pretty sure it's like the swamp lady thing. She's like, all the witches
Oh,
and everyone's
yeah.
coming at him, and they're
Mhm.
like, actually kind of like seductive. They're like,
Like the
"Ew,
Loch
Jack,"
Oh
Ness,
yeah,
right?
they're like
Monster
looking
thing.
up to Jack,
And she goes, "You make wounds ooze and flesh crawl."
and that's like totally a good thing.
I know, it's like that is
To
like
her.
hot and bothered. And
That's hilarious.
I heard that and I was like, "Ooh, Lou, flesh crawl, ooh," and then I said it and was like, "That is the creepiest thing
Right.
that's ever come out my lips."
It's super disgusting.
That is funny.
Talking about that, I just remembered a huge contender for creepiest character, and it's that dude whose skin is just like constantly melting off, like it's like looks like mud, a poop is all over his face.
And Luis actually said, "Is that mud or is that poop?"
Oh my God.
Pretty sure it was poop.
That's
Definitely looks
nasty.
like a poopy face. Poopy face dude. Terrifying. Another thing that I noticed about Sally in particular is that she's full of leaves. like that's her stuffing. Her stuffing is all leaves. Like every
Yeah,
time she pulls her arm off or her leg off or something like that.
Or when she tried to commit suicide and
Or
just
when she
jumped off
hopped.
the
Well, she
tower.
knew she was good to go.
I don't think so.
She hopped down and she was
saw
bringing
Jack's.
stuff. She was bringing stuff to Jack.
Maybe that's what bugs me about her. She saw Jack's face. She was like, "Oh, sad," and then she saw Jack's face, and then she smiled and committed suicide.
No, she jumped off so she could go talk to him.
No.
Anyway,
Okay, whoa.
No.
She packed him a lunch.
right? She
Yeah,
had to
and
go
then
bring
she
it to
gave
him.
it to him and ran away.
Well, yeah, that was after she jumped off the thing.
You know
though.
what I gotta say to you and your Little Mermaid loving butt?
I love him.
Yes, how is Sally any different?
Right.
Way different.
No.
Way.
She's young. She doesn't know
Different.
anything better than love.
Mhm.
She'd be taking him food. And actually,
Ariel went
didn't-
after her, man. She was like, "Curse me, witch! I'm gonna go get him."
It's the same thing. She's like, "Curse me, Dr. Finkelsteinen," and
No.
then she even took a needle to like patch herself back up. She was not committing suicide. She was going out there
Yeah.
to get to her man.
She's trying to get her
Well-
bony man.
Oh, let me tell you how she is different from Ariel. First off, she has a sound mind.
I see some Ariel
Okay,
haters.
she uses reason.
Right.
Okay, she's kind enough to pack him a lunch
Mm-hmm.
instead of not saying anything to her beau for a good amount of time in the movie.
Well,
Okay. Secondly, we went from like 0 to 100 committing suicide. She's jumping off because she knows that she's not going to.
She could
I
take it.
know she wasn't committing suicide.
And
she just bugs
here's
me.
the thing too.
She's like, "Fix it, Felix, dude." She's like, "That needle is Felix's hammer."
Oh, it's the hammer.
And here's the thing about she doesn't just leave and then run away after he gives her lunch. What, you expect her to just sit there and wait for a thank you?
You know what I would've
Literally
done?
Took the basket inside. And I would have been like, oh.
Oh,
okay.
yeah, I
would-
guess
you
he's
know
gone.
what I would have done? I would have
leave.
sent up that basket with me inside it and been like, "Hello, Bone Daddy." That's what she should have done.
Gross.
You know what? This could have worked with Sally because she
Andre, how is that how Michelle got your attention?
If
the
she
first
ever
one?
calls me Bone Daddy, it's over.
That's fine.
Anyway, I was talking about how Sally's full of leaves because she sneaks away from Dr. Finkelstein all the time, and I can't imagine that her body
the time.
isn't super rustly. She should be like with every step that she takes.
crinkle, crinkle,
Crinkle, crinkle,
That's
crinkle,
true.
crinkle.
crinkle, crinkle. She's like a bad fall day when you're trying to like sneak out of the house.
Yeah, and it's just
I mean, not
crunchy
that I
leaves
sneak
all
out of
over
the house
place.
anymore.
They got to be crunchy leaves because it's Halloween, right?
Maybe.
Flawed logic, plot hole.
You know what? I'm not even gonna lie. I didn't even notice she had leaves.
Yeah,
What did oh.
I mean, I've seen this movie probably dozens of times, and I had never noticed until this viewing.
Interesting.
So, guys, it's that time of the week again. I
Ooh.
have our battle for this movie.
Dun 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 dun.
Movie.
We had two
Now-
very different theme songs.
I
there.
went home and watched one of those videos, guys. Don't worry about it.
Okay, so for this week, I posed a question to my crew right here, and as well as you viewers.
Listeners,
All y'all who are watching
they
us right
can't see
now,
us.
Well, they can view the little
they're looking
the
at the
little
picture.
strike on that bar as the time goes from
There you
0 to
go.
100 minutes,
They're
okay,
viewing
or
it.
60 minutes, whatever. Anyways, you guys ready?
Yes.
You ready? You ready?
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
ready.
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Oh,
We did a whole lot of SpongeBob.
We talked
right
about
before
SpongeBob
this,
off air.
so I had to throw it in. Okay, anyways. Who was closer to ruining Christmas? Jack Skellington or the Grinch?
Oh, this is a good question.
oh man, I need some time to process.
So
Let me put
okay,
a
let me go through it. So Jack
Ringing
Skellington was actively trying to recreate Christmas
Yes.
and do it in his own way. So he had good intentions.
Wait, I can't remember. Did the Grinch
The
steal
Grinch
Santa Claus?
stole
Christmas.
But did he steal
stole it.
Santa Claus, or was there no Santa Claus?
The Grinch was acting on New Year's or on Christmas Eve before Santa got out there. I think what was happening is the Grinch was
Oh.
actively trying to take away Christmas.
He
from
was
all the
trying
people
to
in
like get
Whoville.
rid of
He
Christmas.
took all the decorations
He took
and
their
stuff
decorations.
away.
He took
Okay.
their toys. He took all
And
the other
Jack
stuff in that
was doing
song.
the opposite, but doing a messed up
Right, he
job.
was doing a
Messed
real bad
up
job.
job.
So
The Grinch didn't get shot down by air missiles.
True.
Military operation.
They love me. They're having fireworks.
although that's because his reindeer was a dog. Oh, whoa, Jack's reindeer was a dog too. Bruh.
You mean the Grinch's?
The Grinch's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got 2 reindeer
Can
dogs.
you repeat the
2 dog
question,
reindeer.
sir? I gotta think.
Who was closer to ruining Christmas? Jack Skellington or the Grinch? The key word here is ruining,
Ruining Christmas.
regardless of intent.
Right. Because Jack,
Ruining
despite his intent,
Christmas.
still gave like severed heads to children.
Dude,
You know?
that shrunken head, that first scene, I'm like, is that Trader Sam's shrunken head? Like, oh my god, that was so rough.
Right.
I would have lost my business as a kid.
Yeah.
This
Lost
is a
it.
really hard question for me.
Right?
The Grinch at the end decides, because of little Sally Who or whatever, that
Cindy Lou Who.
Excuse me.
Instead of Sally.
Whoa, Sally.
Lou.
I'm mixing all this stuff up.
Say what?
Which, by the way, our beautiful daughter Adeline, when she wakes up from her naps, happens to look like Cindy Who.
Oh, I believe that. She's so cute.
Cindy Lou. Who? Get it? Go ahead.
Anyway.
Okay, I'm gonna say who ruined Christmas.
Who came closer to ruining
Who came
Christmas?
close to ruining Christmas.
See? This
Okay.
is such a good one that we're
I'm-
like stump around.
Right.
My
on.
logic is really, really flawed, but this is my answer.
Go
Okay.
for it.
My answer is that the Grinch was closer to ruining Christmas because every single Who that I've known in that movie likes Christmas. They're obsessed with it. And he took it all the way. And then they were going to be like, the Grinch hates us. But granted, he put everything back. That's fine. But if we forget about the part where he put everything back, I bet you in the world where the children are,
Whoville.
in
Real life
in
area.
the Nightmare Before Christmas land, bet you there was one little punk who was like, "This is so cool."
He was super happy with whatever kind of bat he got as a Christmas gift.
Like some little goth kid was in his
Just
house,
loved his new
and he
snake.
hates Christmas, right? And then Jack Skellington brings him Christmas. He's like, "This is the best day ever." So
I
I'm
mean-
going to say that the Grinch ruined Christmas. He was closer to ruining Christmas than Jack Skellington. Plus, like Emily said, Santa was sassy and he just fixed everything right up. He came, he took all the toys away, gave everybody new toys, and it was fine.
That's true. That is true.
That's my answer.
But
The Grinch.
I think Jack actually came closer to ruining Christmas because if he hadn't got his mind right at the end there,
If he hadn't had his existential crisis.
yes, Sandy Claus would have
Dramatic.
still been captured. All of the toys would have been monstrous, and
Wreaths would have been strangling old ladies.
and I assume that he probably
so
would have
funny.
been like, "That was great. That was a total success. Let's do it again next year," and would have just, captured Santa again if he even decided to let him go. He might have
Dude,
just
poor
been taking
Sandy
notes
would have
or
just,
whatever.
He wanted to be
bit the
homies
dust.
with Santa, okay?
He did, and I'm
He was
sure
like-
he
he
would
was
have had
like,
him tied
"Santa."
up in his room and been like, "You're my best friend."
No, these were his exact words. He was like, "Santa, I got this. Take a vacation." And then Santa was in his bag. He was like, "Take a vacation on Christmas Eve," and he was all mad.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
I'm gonna say that Jack came closer because, like I think that you made up my mind right there because I would rather have Christmas with no decorations, no presents, no toys
Yeah.
because that's not even the point.
Fahu
of the
Forest, Fahu Doris.
Yes, I would rather have that than have like snake eating, wreath murdering,
Yeah,
crazy.
Christmas trees on fire.
Yeah, I don't.
And
And
why
like,
did I think it was comical though? It was funny. The snake was eating the tree.
Oh, it's totally
no, it
hilarious
was funny. If
for
you were
us.
in it, would have been funny. If you were that poor little fat kid trying to run away from those presents, at Jack in the Box, getting your cardio on.
I would have got out a baseball bat and been swinging.
No,
No,
you
I would have been
wouldn't.
hiding.
Nah,
under
you
my
would have been
bed.
hiding, girl.
Can you imagine how excited you are for Christmas and you think you hear Santa and it's this skeleton man coming down your
And
chimney?
that poor little kid is like,
I still vote for the Grinch.
I'm gonna say Jack.
I'm going to say Jack as well.
That's a very, very tough one. I think
Yeah,
I'm going to
the
go with
question you
Jack
posed.
just because of the fact that I did see your point, Ems, that had he not decided at the end after he got shot down to, hey, maybe I should go, help Santa Claus so he can come fix this. Had he not done that, Christmas is done for. At that point, Christmas is pretty much done for because you got the cop who was in the car saying, Christmas is ruined
Christmas is ruined.
or something to that effect.
Yeah.
Santa Claus isn't
Did he say
coming.
Christmas is
Okay,
canceled?
okay.
Canceled or something
Yeah, he said
like
Christmas
that.
is canceled.
It's funny because that cop was definitely the equivalent of the mayor in Halloween Town.
Right.
Like, they're both absolutely useless. Christmas is canceled.
This is it, y'all guys.
Well, that's helpful. Thank
I
you.
have one more argument for the Grinch.
Oh, okay.
If the Grinch hadn't decided to put everything back and make his heart regrow, then Cindy Lou Who would have died. She would have fell off the mountain with all the Christmas stuff, and then he really would have ruined Christmas and a life.
Oh, he would have killed a
He would have
child.
killed Cindy Lou Who.
My God.
Wow, we just turned this into like a murder she wrote.
It's true, though.
Oh.
Remember, they're on top of the mountain, and she's like, "Hi, Grinch," and she's like sitting on top of all the toys, and the Grinch is like going to push his toys off the mountain, right? He doesn't care about him. And he's like, "Cindy Lou," and he saves her.
That is not how that movie went, girl.
That's how it went.
Cindy Lou.
Cindy Lou. Is that you, Cindy Lou? Cindy Lou, you better get down from them toys, girl. That's how the Grinch sounded, right?
Anyways,
I'm dying.
that's one more argument for the Grinch. I think I'm gonna have a lot of lost fans after I like Sally and I voted for the Grinch. Anyways,
No, the Grinch is a fabulous story, but I always think of the Grinch like the Jim Carrey version.
yeah,
Right.
that's the one I'm talking about. It's I just watched it the other day. It's funny.
Where it tells like the Grinch's origins and he's like a little kid.
Yeah.
I can't.
Whoville or
that's
whatever.
They were mean to him.
Yeah, they were mean to him.
Sorry.
And when he's bored in the
Tragic
God.
backstory
Oh,
for the Grinch.
Lord. He's like Calhoun of the. Oh man! All
That
right.
was a hard one, Luis, this week.
Yeah, that was a good
good,
one,
though.
though.
It was super good.
All right, are we ready to do some ratings? Is
Rating
it time for
Christmas.
ratings? Do you guys have any final thoughts about The Nightmare Before Christmas?
Tell me what they said on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh,
Ooh, I think it was 94.
let's see.
94?
Yeah,
Are
I
you
think
serious?
So
Dang.
One moment.
I think it has the
while
same as
I
Moana.
use the internet. Give me
Use
one
the
more
internet.
second.
My Wi-Fi
did I
slow.
get a cookie if I was right?
The score
I do have cookies
on
here.
Rotten
I'm sorry,
Tomatoes
listeners.
for The Nightmare Before Christmas was, in fact, 94%.
Oh my
Hey, I get a
gosh.
cookie.
That's very high.
What's Moana again? Can you look at Moana?
I
Because that
think-
was our highest rated so far.
I think
Yeah.
Let's see if it beats Moana. I think Moana was 96, I want to say.
Well, I know Andre kept saying 93 last week, but we'll see.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Moment of truth.
Hang on one moment.
Let's
Okay,
see.
the score for Moana on Rotten Tomatoes is 96%.
I have a very good memory, guys.
2% higher than The Nightmare Before Christmas. Do you agree?
Interesting. This is hard because I had this conversation with Andre last night after we finished watching the movie. As soon as the movie got done, I usually automatically think of my rating. I gave Moana a 9.5, and I said when this movie got over, that movie is as good as Moana, but they can't be compared because they're completely different genres. Like, one is
Sure.
about a princess and a wayfinder and la la la, and it's so happy and joyous and kind of sad. And this movie's just, like, creepy, but also very good.
Creepy fun.
So
Creepy jolly fun.
Well, think about it like totally separate from Moana.
On
like,
its own,
like
yeah.
take that totally out of your head. What would you give it?
This is so hard. I'm still comparing it to Moana because if I had to choose what movie I would watch again right now, I would pick The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Really?
Yes.
Is that because of the
Because
time
of the
year?
soundtrack.
If it was May, would you choose Moana or Nightmare Before Christmas?
Oh, I don't know.
See, it's a whole
No,
bunch of
like-
factors. That's
like
why you got to
I
think.
don't know.
Moana out.
That's why you got to think of this movie on its own.
Tim Burton.
Or or compare it to something that's not Moana.
There's never a
Compare
moment.
it to Beetlejuice. It's better than
Okay,
Beetlejuice.
there is-
There is never a moment that I don't compare something to Moana. Ever.
Or Ariel, let's be real. Okay, so there was never a moment in this movie to me where there was any downtime where I was bored at all.
Yeah,
Okay.
no dull
Nothing.
points.
No dull points. For that reason, I will give it a 9.5.
9.5. There you go.
Okay.
If I liked Sally more, it would get a 10. And once again, God, the music in this movie.
Music is
Okay,
good
I'm gonna give it a 9.5. That's my score.
All right, I'm gonna score it because I wanna give my score before I get freaking Rotten Tomatoed. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I will be completely honest with you. I liked this movie better before I went to the Gallo and watched it with the full orchestra.
Oh.
Really?
Because when I watched it with the full orchestra, it was bomb.
Right.
And now I'm watching it in the comfort of my own home,
Oh yeah.
and I got distracted.
you had that
Gotcha.
live music.
Yes.
You know.
Right.
So now I'm like, I had something better.
You experience it on a greater
yes,
level.
and so
But-
now at home I'm like,
If you didn't have if you had never seen the orchestra, just
I would've
like
said
if I had never seen
yes.
Moana.
They're not the same. Not the same comparison. But
What would
like,
you give it?
I'm gonna say there are a couple slow points for me. I won't
Okay.
say I was ever bored, but there are a couple slow points for me, even though this is a short movie.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So for that point, I would say like 7.5 or 8,
Really?
and that's I still like it. I definitely do. It's definitely not. I'll say 8.
Okay.
I like it. It's a solid movie. It's one of my favorite Tim Burton's for sure. Because some of his other ones go a little too culty or a little too creepy for
Yeah.
me.
Mhm.
But this one really does like hug the edge very well. But there's a couple things I think that
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, I ruined it
Yeah.
because that
I
was the
think-
coolest thing I've ever seen, and now I'm
Right.
like, man, I need a full
Well,
orchestra.
what did you rate the full orchestra? Like,
Oh
once you got
God,
out of
it
there,
was
is
like
that
a 9.9.
Okay.
That was the
Wow.
coolest thing.
Yeah.
And I think that
Full
Luis
invite.
and I looked at each other. Get your invite out of here. I think Luis kept and Luis had never seen a full orchestra before. He kept calling it a band. That's cute, right? But
That's funny.
we kept looking at each other like, this is legit, because
Right.
they would do like some lights behind the movie too, so that you kind of got more
It
of
was
the
a
the
fuller
effect.
I think-
but it was really
experience.
nice.
I have one more comment about my rating. I'm sorry.
Go
I'm going to bring
ahead.
it down to a 9 out of 10. I think I need to learn to separate the soundtrack from the movie. A lot of times I'm like so
No,
in
it
love.
should be together.
You think so? Because
Yeah.
sometimes I get so in love with the music that rate this movie. I'm really rating it on those songs. I enjoy the first half of the movie more than the second half because
Because
the
you like the
bulk
music
of
better.
the songs are in the first half of the movie. So I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10.
Okay, I get what you're saying. I really do.
Yeah.
Because I do the same thing. I won't lie.
I'm like, I need to separate, but you're sure that's right. You like you said, this movie, the music, it's like a musical. It
carries the
storyline.
storyline.
Okay,
Yes.
9 out of 10.
That's a good score. This movie I have watched many times over the course of my lifetime. I love this movie. It's great. I will say that last night when we watched it, we watched it after we had just got back from the movies to see Justice League.
Maybe that's why I rated it higher because the Justice League sucked.
So Justice League was not great in my opinion. But watching this movie, I loved it just as much as I have ever loved it, but I was very tired. I had been all of my movie watching ability had been worn out by Justice
I told
League.
you we should have waited to watch
So-
the Justice League till another day.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, hold on. With that too, I just thought of this. Do you feel like you watch these movies? Obviously, you watch these movies differently because now we're watching it with the critical eye, so
Sure.
we can talk about them. But I feel like I almost like them like a titch less because I'm trying to be critical.
Want to be critical
not
about
like
it.
I'm wanting to, but
Right.
it's just you're like, ooh, I didn't notice that, and now I
Exactly.
either really like it more or I don't like it more.
Yes.
Do you know what
So
I mean?
that is a
I-
thing that we have to contend with
I
as
think
we
I
do this
like
podcast.
being critical of it. I like watching it. I mean, obviously, the time I enjoy a movie the most is the very first time I watch it. But I think it's giving it, like some of these movies I would never watch again if we weren't doing it with like a critical eye. So it's super fun for me.
Hmm.
So I kind of enjoy it more.
Yeah, it is fun, and
Agreed.
I have a lot of fun learning all kinds of new stuff about these movies. Like I learned all about this Tim Burton stuff basically last night. I knew that he wasn't the director, but I didn't know that he had written the poem and all of that goodness. So for my rating, because I was a little sleepy last night and I did close my eyes a little bit while Santa Claus was getting kidnapped and stuff like that. It's not because it was boring. It was purely because of my own body's imperfections. But I think I'm going to give it like either a 9 or like an 8.9. You know, it's real finicky right there. It's real
That's
close.
still high. I thought
It's still very high. I still love
Yeah.
this movie a lot. It's just that last night it felt like it dragged a little bit, and that I think once again is purely because my body was very tired and could not handle Oogie Boogie and all of his Oogie Booginess, because that was really when I was knocked out. But yeah, it's still great. I love all of the music. I love the characters. The way that it's animated is fantastic. It's a great movie. Luis.
I'm going to give it a. I'm very torn because I agree 100% with my wife that once you see it with the orchestra, it's a whole another ballpark. But even with the orchestra, though, I probably with the orchestra, I would have gave it an 8.5. Just because I can't stand Oogie Boogie. And
There's
those
always
kids-
someone you can't stand, Lou.
Exactly.
It's that
Gene.
voodoo that he do.
No. But really, he
Gene.
creeped me out way too much. And I think I also want to give it an 8.5 because what really bugged me, and we didn't talk about this, was it kind of made no sense to me how he was able to get to the real world. When he went through the door, he went to the North Pole, not to the real,
But maybe
to the rest of the world. So it wasn't very clear how he got there, so that really bugged me. And for that, I gave it an 8.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're still all
We
very
didn't-
high scores.
We didn't talk too much about the universe that this place lives in, but Halloween Town has a wooded area that is able to access all of these other holiday-themed worlds.
Yeah, we had a hard time with that. We were trying to explain it to each other, like
But,
make it work.
Like maybe each town it does exist in the real world on Earth somewhere. This is Halloween Town that exists probably in like Salem, Oregon, or something like that. Salem, Massachusetts. Excuse me.
Salem, Oregon. I love it. I did it to you.
Dang
See,
it.
I always thought Halloween Town was like hell because when he's in the real world, he like goes through the crypt and then comes out of another crypt into Halloween Town.
Well, see, that's what we
so
were
I
saying,
assumed it was
too.
underground.
That's kind of what we were thinking. That's why Louise called it the North Pole, like Christmas. Well, obviously,
Right.
we always think of Christmas being the North Pole, but I always thought of them as being like different worlds that you would open the door to. But then Louise said, well, Jack walked all night and then ended up in the forest. So
Right.
how could he walk
Yeah.
all night and not walk out of out of his Halloween door into the grove in which he would go into? Does that make sense?
Right, like
In
where
your
is the Halloween
That's
Town
fantastic.
door
You just have to imagine.
in Christmas Town or in any of these
Exactly.
other towns? You
yeah.
know, yeah. So
Interesting.
an interesting
Still, we-
question.
Because
Leave
he
it
just
very-
fell out of the sky and ended up in Christmas Town.
I'll call my man Timmy Burton. I'll get him on the phone and we'll figure this
Tim
all
Burton,
out.
hit us up.
Timmy.
Still all
Andre,
very, very high ratings, though.
Yes, we rated this movie very highly.
Timmy.
Indeed.
Timmy. Okay. So yeah, that's been our discussion on the Nightmare Before Christmas,
I
right?
think as a lead-in to the next movie that we're going to watch, let's go around and say who our favorite Disney prince and princess is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can do that now.
Oh no! Now I have to think. Oh no! I know who it is.
I was like, what?
Excuse
You
me.
have to think.
Everyone who knows me
Did
is
you
like,
have to think
"Excuse
about
you?"
the princess or the prince?
the prince. But they
Oh.
go together, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's fine. They go
Okay.
together.
Andre, you go.
Okay. I'm cheating because he
What?
cheated. He's not a real prince. It's Aladdin. Is my
He
favorite.
said prince at the end.
Prince Ali,
Yeah.
fabulous.
That he-
And also, fun fact,
He
Andre
wished
and
for.
I are going to see Aladdin on
Wow.
Broadway in San Francisco in December. Can't wait. High five.
Nice.
Sick invite.
You're right.
You don't have a baby, so you don't want to hear none of your
We
excuses.
have a dog. That's not the
Dougie
same.
is not
but-
Come with us.
baby.
You just won't be sitting by us, probably.
Isn't
Yeah,
that
good luck
rude?
getting tickets.
Listeners are just
But you're
rolling their
invited.
eyes at you right now.
And fun fact, the Jafar in the movie is the Jafar in the Broadway.
Well, that's actually really cool.
Oh.
So Luis,
I didn't know that.
Luis
Yeah.
is Jafar.
It's Luis.
Yeah, I need to post the
Ah.
picture of Luis looking like Jafar. It's
Yes.
hilarious.
And we should definitely look at that for next Halloween. Or
Who's
something
your
like
favorite princess?
that. My favorite princess. That's a good question. I think it might be like Mulan. I like Mulan a lot.
Oh, okay.
Mhm. Or yeah. I'll stick with Mulan.
So Mulan and
Mulan and Aladdin.
Oh, so you're separating.
So
Yes.
people who are always pretending to be someone they're not.
That's right. I love liars and actors
Oh my God,
and
stop. I'm dying. That was really
people
good,
who can
Michelle.
perform for an extended period of time.
Oh
yes.
Sounds
my
like
God, that
Andre.
was the most. That's the most
Man,
fantastic thing I've
she
ever.
got
heard.
me real hard.
It's okay. I still
Right in
love
the
you.
chest. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, she called you out.
Yeah.
I did. Let's go to you, Emily.
Okay, so for me, I'm gonna keep them together because if I think too hard, it's just gonna make me mad.
Sure.
Okay, so my favorite princess okay. So my favorite movies are Mulan and Hercules, but
Okay.
they're definitely not my favorite, like princess and prince.
Like the one you get excited about when you see him. You're like,
oh yeah, no. Well, I mean, not that I've ever seen them in Disney, which would make me really happy. But no, I guess they're too old to be in the parks. Anywho,
Oh.
my favorite every single time I'm beating my table to death
Yeah.
is
careful.
Rapunzel. I'm
Oh.
sorry, she's the most fantastic. She makes me laugh. I think Mandy Moore did such a fabulous job. I won't go too far into it because we eventually will watch that movie
Sure.
and I will
I'm
just
sure.
gush the entire time. But I love Flynn Rider as well, who's the like quote unquote prince in that movie because he is one of I won't say the first, but he is the biggest character that I have seen on Disney screen who is like, I don't want to sing. What is
Right.
this craziness that y'all are doing? I just want to be on an island with myself and my money. Move. And
Subverting.
that to me is
It's
quite
hilarious.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Because before meeting Luis, that was me. I was like, I'm never getting married and I just want to live on an island away from stupid.
That is funny.
I just wanted a magic lamp and a magic carpet.
That sounds like you.
Yeah, and a monkey. Man,
You are a monkey.
how dare you?
And what'd you get? Michelle and Dougie.
Right.
Yay.
You're the monkey. He's the
I was
carpet.
going to say you the carpet and the monkey.
That's right.
Okay.
Carpet's not snack, though.
Always snacking.
Hashtag always
snacking.
snacking.
Okay, go ahead, Michelle. Who's your favorite? We know.
Well,
Yeah.
my favorite princess is Ariel, a.k.a. the Little Mermaid, a.k.a. the redheaded goddess, a.k.a. she's a boss. She's great.
Who knows her as the red-haired goddess?
Michelle,
I do.
apparently.
I have a Thomas Kincaid Ariel painting. I have a lot of Ariel ornaments on our
There's
Christmas
so many
tree.
Ariels in
I've
my
got
house.
A lot of flounders. I've got a lot of Ariels. She's the best, and nobody likes her except for me. It's fine.
No,
I
we
mean,
do.
it's not
but
that nobody likes her. It's just that
And I will agree, once you see the movie when you're an adult, you're like, oh,
she's
dear.
definitely a 16-year-old girl.
Yeah, no, like just don't. You have to watch that movie with a non-critical adult
yeah.
eye. Like
Right.
you have to watch it as being a free-spirited child.
It's borderline.
and then it's cute.
And I will say it about this movie. It's borderline old generation and new generation princess.
Oh, 100%.
She's right in
Yeah.
the middle, so there's reasons to like her. She's really strong. And then there's reasons to like her. She's really prissy.
Yeah,
Like it's that
Sure.
borderline princess, but I dig it.
truth.
And my favorite prince, it's hard because I have a favorite visually appealing prince and a favorite personality
Goodness
prince.
gracious.
Well, we did give John Smith like a 10 out of
Yeah,
10. Oh, no, I
we
actually
did.
gave him 11
So
out of 10.
I
Brother.
will keep her with Eric. I would say if anybody asked me that, Prince Eric would be my favorite. They're both kind of stupid because I just don't understand why the whole movie they just can't write on a piece of paper.
That's
Like,
what I'm
you know.
Right.
saying. Like, what
But
you don't know. You
I
don't know how
love
to rate.
Prince Eric. He's great. I love him. But personality-wise, my favorite is, and I can't ever remember his name because they don't really
Oh.
say it that much. The guy from Mulan. What's his name?
Oh,
I want to call him Sean Yu, but that's definitely not his name.
It's
The reason I like him is because he has a man bun.
what?
I'm not kidding.
We're
That's not the
definitely
reason.
we're gonna end the podcast here because muns make me want to
Hey,
shoot.
I'm never
Is his
growing a
name-
man bun.
I really, really like him. But Prince Eric is my favorite.
His name is. Wait, what's his name?
I'm
Something.
never gonna catch my breath. Donny
I want to
Osmond
know me.
sings this. I have no idea what his name is actually.
Shang.
Shang.
It's just Shang.
Shang.
I thought no,
Shang
it's
Li?
just Shang.
Shanghai.
I thought that there were two names, which is why I couldn't find it on this
Yeah.
IMDb page.
I like him a lot, but Prince Eric's my favorite. Okay. That was
Well, for Luis's favorite princess, which I don't think you guys know this, is
Did
Merida.
really?
Merida.
Well,
I would
she's
say-
my least favorite. Well, not my least favorite.
Your
but
least favorite?
I'm not gonna lie. When I first saw that movie, I was like,
Well,
I love that movie. Brave.
I cried.
Brave's good.
That's why I only ever watched it once because I don't do cry.
Yeah.
So I watched
Oh,
it once,
okay.
cried it out, and was like, never again.
really? I thought it would be Pocahontas.
He does. I think like his old princesses are Pocahontas, but he watched Merida and like completely obsessed after
Gotcha.
that.
She's really
She's
cool.
very cool.
Yeah, and then Prince, I would say he. I have no idea what his prince is. He'll have to tell you next week.
Yeah.
But I
He
will
went to go get the baby.
Yeah, he's good in the body, papa. Right now,
Aw.
just a papa.
Yeah.
But before we say who our next
movie
next
is.
what our next movie is, I want to give a very special shout out to one of our listeners, or actually two or three of our listeners,
A bunch of y'all.
who actually live out of state, which is super exciting for us to have out of state listeners. I feel like, oh, we're growing, guys.
We're doing it.
But it is our lovely niece and fiance nephew. I don't know how you call that, but like not nephew yet.
Probably call me nephew.
Kasha and Gilbert, who live in Portland, Oregon, and they have been listening to our podcast, and they're not usually like Disney podcast type people, but they think that we're funny, which I think is great because we're ridiculous.
Funny.
That's
So
great.
thank you guys for listening.
Thank
and
you.
Thank you. Yeah,
If
we
you're-
appreciate it.
Yeah, and if you're
none
a
of my
listener,
relatives have reached out. Where y'all at?
Well,
Hey,
do you have any out of state listeners?
nah, none. All of them live here. So
Well, do you have it? Well, tell them to let us know that they're listening.
That's
and
right.
if you guys are out there, like, let us know where you're listening from, and if you're enjoying us. And if you don't like us, then don't tell us. Just kidding. No, tell us.
tell us what you want from us. You know, what do you want us to watch? What do you
do
want
you
us to
want
talk
from
about?
me?
What?
What do you want? Me?
Oh, Lord
Oh,
Almighty!
goodness gracious.
I wish you could see Michelle's face as she sings this.
She's doing
Like,
a lot. Doing a lot of face singing.
But the good thing
I
is
had a lot of
that
coffee.
you'll see that as we move forward in this podcast, we're going to do more where you guys can be interactive and choose our episodes,
Yes.
or our themes for our episodes, and
Yes.
look forward to that.
Yeah,
as
keep a
spinning your
lookout for
cups.
that after the new year.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some plans for that.
Exciting.
Monthly themes. It's gonna be great.
You guys,
got
we
it
have
all in
future
there.
plans. That's
Oh
how
my
you know you
God.
made it.
Yeah.
Yes.
We
So
didn't
please
actually make it yet.
leave us comments on thewaltvaultpod.com, and you can email us at contact@thewaltvaultpod.com.
We may read it. Just kidding.
Yeah, we
We'll
might.
read it.
We
We
might
love
read it.
reading all of your comments. Seriously.
Yes, we really
Yes.
do.
We will read it, and probably read it on the air.
If you're okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're okay with it.
With
Make
y'all's
sure
permission.
to mark in like the subject of your email if you're cool with us
Not
reading it on the air.
okay with sharing.
Yes.
Don't say my name.
Next week's movie is
That's right.
We're all really excited.
Can we get a
actually.
drum roll?
The
Next-
Princess and the Frog.
The
I was gonna
2009
see if any of
movie.
us said that like Tiana and Naveen were our favorite prince and princesses, and so this will be interesting. None of us said
Well,
it was
it's
our favorite.
funny because they actually, which is funny because every time I do this, every time I watch Princess and the Frog, afterwards I'm like, Tiana is the best.
Right.
Like
She's
after every time.
great.
She's great.
So next week, just wait for me to be like, Tiana, oh my God.
Yeah.
exactly.
And Ray.
and it's
Because I'm
very-
sorry, Naveen is not my favorite. But,
Yeah.
but
The
Tiana, ooh, she
Mhm.
coming in like hot.
I've only seen this movie once.
Oh.
I've
in
seen this movie a bunch
theaters,
of times.
so I don't know the soundtrack as well either for
Ooh,
this
girl,
one. So
be
I'm
singing
really
all them songs.
Oh,
excited
girl,
to
you're going
watch
to
it
be
again.
almost there.
Mm.
Like, oh.
Well, I mean, I know the songs from Pandora radio station.
Almost there.
Almost.
All right, we're almost at the end of this podcast. You guys, I want you all to follow us on social media. We are at the Walt Vault Pod on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all of that good stuff. Make sure you're subscribed on iTunes, and if you are subscribed on iTunes, please think of leaving us a review or at least a rating. 5 stars is pretty applicable. I think we've earned it. So leave us one of those. We might read your review on the show. Do that. Subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell your mom. Your mom wants to know about this podcast. Straight up. Tell her. Tell her about it. Be closer with your mother and tell her about the Walt Vault. You guys, that's it for this episode 5. The vault is now closed.